Hello, everybody. And if you want to go deep, and I mean freaking deep, down the mixing shrimp color wormhole, then this video is for you. So this all started about 3 years ago when I decided I wanted to try to make my own red Rili line. Well, I did that by mixing reds and blue jellies. I was able to make my own red Rili line. It's still a work in progress, but I was able to do it. But I had all kinds of cool different phenotypes popping up, and I wanted to see if I could replicate them regularly. And so this is where we're at now. Let's get into this project. Okay, so this is the tank we have now. So essentially, my ultimate goal is to create a blue red Rili. So we have red on the tail, red on the head, and blue in the middle. And I would call this iteration, we are somewhere in the middle of it. We're not quite there, but we're getting there. And I've had some different kinds of stuff happen, like the red on these guys. It almost looks like they're like glowing. So, it's one of them things you breed out shrimp. You pick a group. I want to try mixing these, see how they breed out, and if you get cool stuff happening, you pick out the ones you think are cool, continue with those, and then everything else goes to Skittles mix tank. So that's the process I'm using here. Now I'm not gonna go into exact details because I gotta protect some of the things. I share pretty much everything with you guys, but if you follow along with my videos, you'll probably be able to figure out just exactly what I'm trying to do here. But we basically made red Rilis, and then we add a little bit more something, take away a little more something, breed those out, see what happens. And these guys, like I said, they're like the halfway point between regular red Rilis and pure blue red Rilis. Now, I wasn't sure what to expect, and when these guys started breeding out, I was like, man, there are a lot of good ones that I would really like to keep. And so even though this wasn't exactly what I was after for an end thing, I was like, well, these guys are too cool not to line out. So we are lining these guys out. It's like this group, it's weird how you got like bluish in the middle, and then you'll still have like faint red. It's almost kind of like a pink, light pink purple in the middle. I'm not sure how to describe it exactly, but there's some really good ones that bred out. I have ones breeding out that are better than the ones I started off with. So we're going to go through here. I'm going to pull out all this moss. This is my newest tank I showed you guys setting up. And we're going to go through here, pull all the moss out. And a lot of the babies, they're getting close to being breeding size. So it's time to cull everything that we don't want out. Now, this tank is only like one batch of babies bred out and born and grown up. And there's a few teeny tiny ones, but not a lot. So I don't think we have to pull everything out and do a complete reset. We're just going to do a really, really hard call right now because I don't think there's a whole ton of shrimp in here because it's just the buried ones wasn't here from the group that these bred out from. These bred out from a group. I kept out. This is the buried ones and what they made and how they bred out from a group. And then the group that these come from went on to the next step to try to get more blue. But you guys were too awesome, in my opinion, not to try to do something with it. So, we've all seen the people on Facebook posting, oh, look at this cool shrimp that popped up, and it's one of those things where, yeah, you get some really cool randoms popping up, but you're going to have a heck of a time just taking that one random and recreating it. So, I'm starting from the ground floor, breeding a little of this, breeding a little bit of that, putting in some more of this, putting in some more of that, seeing what happens. Of mixing reds and blue jellies to create my own different lines of different kinds of red Rilis. So, like I said, we're going deep down this rabbit hole. So let's get the moss out here. Now, this, I think there's a lot of shrimp in here. I don't think there's tons, like I said. But there's one thing for sure. There's a freaking ton of moss in here. The moss in this tank is doing ridiculous. Looks like we had a recent molting frenzy. So I'm going to be pulling out this moss. And then we'll take a good look. We'll do what I usually do in my videos. We'll see what we got. Then we'll get them all gathered up. And we'll start pulling out the ones we don't want to keep. All right, we got everything ripped out. So we can see better from this angle. You can see all the different color morphs we are after. There's not a ton of shrimp in here to sort through, but there's definitely a bit. Okay, so I'll put in an algae wafer. We'll get them all gathered up here, and that'll make it easier for us to pick the winners and the losers. Alright, so I've been picking out the ones. Some of them look kind of good, but I'm being picky. Picked out a lot of blue jellies. Some that didn't have, like these guys here. They have the distinct red lines in the Rili part. We don't really want that. That one's really cool, and it's one of the original breeders. There's a couple of the original breeders I even picked out. That one too. Because we have new ones that have bred out that are better. So when you start these projects, you're kind of just like, all right, this one's good. This is kind of what I'm after. Then you refine them as you go. So those are the ones I've been pulling out. I think I was a little late because I didn't think there was any babies, but clearly, you can see, if it'll focus, we have new little babies. So there's a couple drops in there I missed. There's one I need to get. So what I've been doing is I set this algae wafer out, then I scoop out the ones that draws in, and I try to get the ones back there that I can. But you see, this is, you can kind of tell overall what the goals are here. That one has a red patch, and it will eventually be gone, but it's pretty good. This one right there. And the younger ones from the first breeder batch, they definitely get better the older they get. So, alright, they're not really gathering up like I'd hope because I keep scooping them out and scaring them in the back. See how many we got back here still. Yeah, most of those look like keepers to me. There's a man. That's a real good one. Well, it's going to go behind the moss so I can't see it. So I think the plan is going to be, after I get done pulling all these out, I'm going to let them breed out and pull out the obvious ones right off as soon as I see them. let them breed out. So there's hundreds and hundreds of them in here, and then do a huge restart the whole tank in probably 4 or 5 months, and then we'll pick out 20, 30 of the best ones. Yeah, there's some little tiny, teeny tiny ones. Pick out 20 or 30 of the very best ones and go from there. But we want to get as many of the good ones as we can. And actually, I think the cull rate in these might be less than my pure red Rilis, just regular red Rilis. And this is the regular red Rili tank that I've also created myself. And then in the process of going blue, we end up with the tank that we've been working on. And then this tank is the tank I talked about in my last video. And this is where all the ones that we don't end up keeping, all the ones we pull up for one reason or another, and the reds and the blue jellies and all these different red Rili projects I have going, this is where they all come to live. My favorite tank I've ever made right now. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Alright, I just talked about this tank forever last video. So, let's go see if we can find some more to pull out. So I wanted to make another point while we're looking at this tank. And that is, do we have shrimp that we already want in here? And we pretty much do. We have some pretty good blue Rilis. If we look really hard, we'll find some. But I think I mentioned this earlier, is instead of just picking out a random and trying to line that out, I want to try to build it from the ground up. You know, I want to try to, I think, because I've had other people tell me that they've tried lining them out and it's just all over the place. And we can, with what we're working on now in the other tank, we're getting a lot of shrimp that are pretty dang similar. So instead of just picking off a random that the Rilis or whatever throw, I think I'm going to have better long-term success by starting from the ground floor and working it from the very beginning. That's my theory. I may be wrong. I don't know. Too many people trying to do what I'm doing. Not too many people have gone this far down the neocaridina rabbit hole. Oh, there's lots of cool ones in here. But they're just a product of randomness, not an actual line. Alright, I think I've got about all the ones I need to get out of here. And you see what we're left with. We have the red Rilis, but they are almost blue red Rilis, but not quite blue red Rilis. They are, I don't know what you'd call them, the in-between point that I really, really love and want to line out. So like I was saying, we've got a lot of these guys out. And so I think we're just going to let these guys breed out. I'm going to let this tank breed out the hundreds of shrimp. Then I'll casually pull out obvious bad ones that we don't want. I'm sure I missed a couple in this group. But you can see what we're trying to do here. I think it's pretty cool. And it's different. Most people give up on Neos and go on to Caridina before they get this deep into it. But not me. So hopefully some of you guys find this stuff interesting. So I'm going to get this tank put back together. Put some of the moss back in there. and scrape the glass a little bit. Then we got to put the coals in the fire and ice mix tank. So let's finish this thing up. All right, we ain't done much. We just stuffed a couple wads of moss back in there. Look at the cool shrimp. I am excited to see what these guys breed out to be, for sure. Cool shrimp. So, next time you see this, hopefully it'll be in 3 to 5 months, and we'll have hundreds and hundreds in here to pick out only the best ones to restart the tank with. That's the plan. All right, let's end this video putting the ones we pulled out into this tank, into the ultimate mixed shrimp tank. All right, all right. Look at them go. Cool, cool. My fire and ice Skittles mix. Oh, and of course, there's always some left in the container. All right, just a couple snails. All right, everybody. Thank you guys for sticking around, watching another one of my videos. Bye.